Welcome into Fantasy Filmball. My name's Matt, and today is a special episode. That's right, it is our annual international feature submission tier list, and I'm going to pass the mic over to our international feature specialist, Arnaud, who's going to guide us through today's video.
Today, what we're doing differently from previous times is that Matt and I are going to assemble this tier list together. We've chosen 40 countries that we think have an interesting case for the International Film Oscar this year and see what chances they have and whether or not they can get shortlisted, nominated, and even win. 91 submissions. We're not going to go through all of these. A lot of these are just uninteresting or dead on arrival.
If we don't talk about something here that you think we should, make sure you leave a comment and tell us why you think that your country can get nominated.
The tier list we have in front of us is composed of 6 categories. At the very top is S tier, that for the massive contenders. These are contenders that can go beyond the international film category. For A, we have likely nominations. For B tier, we have likely shortlist, films that can get on the shortlist. C, we have possible shortlist. Maybe it might not get on the shortlist, but something about it makes us think it could. D tier are films that are unlikely to gain traction, but you never know. And F tier are just like dead on arrival. There's just nothing going for it. Let's start with Argentina. Argentina this year, they submitted a film called Belen. Belen is a legal feminist drama that is released on Prime, and already you hear Prime, you hear legal, you hear Argentina, you can think of Argentina 1985, which was nominated 3 years ago. Is this an Argentina 1985 to you, Matt?
Absolutely not. We have to remember Argentina 1985 premiered in competition at Venice, and it had a lot going for it just outside of being a big audience success, which is what Belen has going for it. It's got audience buzz and a very good topic. In that case, I could see it be a sleeper for a shortlist. I don't think this is DOA, but I do think it is very much a long shot. So I would go D tier.
I would lean more towards the C tier.
I think C tier might be a little bit generous for Belen because I feel like there's so many films year after year that kind of fit this mold.
Right, but think about Waves last year.
Waves is a good comparable for it, but we could spend all day trying to pick out the next Waves, and everything could end up in the C tier. Like, there are so many movies that are geared to be popular to the country that they were made in, but don't have a lot of crossover appeal. And I personally don't see a ton of crossover appeal here.
Okay, let's put it high D for now.
We can compromise.
Next up, we have Belgium's submission, the new Dardenne brothers film, Young Mothers. This, to me, is prime D tier.
Really, I would actually say I see this as a C tier. I think the fact that it got that Cannes screenplay, the fact that it has done relatively well in terms of audiences in Europe.
Where?
My understanding was it seemed like people liked this one.
Not really.
Really? Okay.
It wasn't embraced by the public. The highest thing it has on its pedigree is a 78 Metacritic score, but that's, a select few American critics.
Then that changes things for me.
It hasn't gone to New York. It hasn't gone to TIFF.
Nothing major.
Despite the screenplay win, it might be just a little bit of a jury fuckery, like we like to say.
Yeah.
And clearly it's not caught on since. So to me, this is D tier.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with that.
Next up, we have Brazil. This is maybe our first big one. This is a neon release. This is the new film by Kleber Mendonça Filho, and it stars Wagner Moura, winner of the Best Actor prize at Cannes. There's a lot of buzz around this one, especially after Brazil won the Academy Award last year with I'm Still Here. Is this a major contender that can get nominated in other categories, or is this a little bit overrated, Matt?
I love every other Kleber Mendonça Filho movie. Bacurau rules, Neighboring Sounds rules. This one doesn't do it for me, but I'm going to put it in the A tier. I think that this is a likely nomination. I do not see the case for this being more. And personally, I don't even think that's guaranteed, seeing as Neon has so many of these contenders. I don't see the case for this being in Best Picture, in Director, in Screenplay, in Actor, even though a lot of people think Wagner Moura is in.
I think we would agree this is the fourth likeliest Neon film to be nominated in this category. So given that we don't believe in Wagner Moura as an acting contender, given that this is Neon's fourth priority and the ridiculously unprecedented scenario that Neon gets 4 films into this category, rationalizing it, even though there's a fair argument to put it in S tier. I gotta put it at the top of B tier.
Really? I don't know. I don't know if I would predict it for a nomination, but I feel like if we're just ranking everything, this one is absolutely up there in the top 5.
But I don't even have it in. I mean, I don't have it in my top 5.
I don't know. I'm torn because like
if you look at the film, it just doesn't scream unanimous appeal. It doesn't scream that kind of consensus, emotional, riveting. Even the end doesn't give you like a big catharsis moment, right?
I would say let's put it B tier for now, but I think if we can't fill up S and A with 5 titles, we have to move it into A tier.
Fair enough. Next up, we have Canada's submission, The Things You Kill. This was the directing award winner at the Sundance Film Festival for a World Cinema Competition. Other than that, it has played in a few festivals here and there, although I don't know if it's made that large of an impact. It is a solid film, and I think it is a solid choice for Canada, but I just don't think we had that great of a year this year, and to me, this is a D tier.
I agree with you. It is a D tier. I think that it's not really a contender. Canada could have done worse. They could have not been relevant at all. And I think that Alireza Khatami's film is definitely relevant.
But let's move on to Chile with The Mysterious Gaze of the Flamingo. Fantastic title. Not that fantastic of a film, in my opinion, despite it winning the top prize in Un Certain Regard side section at Cannes. Because of its profile, because of its accomplishments as a film, you can't completely discount it, but I just don't think this will ultimately make the shortlist at the end of the day. So to me, this is a C tier.
This is a C tier for me as well. I think that it's worth mentioning because of the profile that it's had, the awards that it's gained, and the subject matter. But beyond that, it would be lucky to get on the short list, let's say.
Next up, we have China with Dead to Rights. This is not a terrible choice from China. They could have gone with Ne Zha 2, which, contends in another category being animated film. But this seems to have been pretty well received overall. It is a film that definitely fits under this is the kind of image of China that we want, showing Chinese persecution in the hands of the Japanese. But there is also, from what I've read, the angle of seeing this journalist try to make his way through the horrors of war. I just haven't heard anybody talk about it, so I think this is just a D tier.
F tier for me. This is just another one in a long line of China picking a big movie that no one outside of China will care about. But yeah, I just see this as not a contender whatsoever.
Really? Not even a sliver? I think this is a bottom of the D tier at worst.
We can go bottom of the D tier, but I just feel like we would not be talking about this movie at all had it not been selected.
I don't think we would have talked about Belen at all if it wasn't for the submission.
Yeah, at least it has some reach being on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. All right. Let's put it bottom of the D tier. Maybe we'll see about the F tier.
If we don't have anything else F, this should be F.
We'll have, don't worry. Next up is Colombia's submission, Un Poeta. This is the jury prize winner of the Un Certain Regard category. It's been making the rounds at film festivals. It's also got a stellar lead performance. And honestly, I think that given the platform that this film has been having since its premiere at Cannes and its reception, especially from Latin American audiences, is very encouraging. I think this is prime B tier.
I agree with you. It is a really strong movie, and it has been getting a lot of buzz. It is absolutely going to be on that short list.
I see what you did there. Absolutely going to be on that short list. Next up, we have Croatia's submission, Fiume or Morte. This was the Golden Tiger winner at the Rotterdam Film Festival and has been getting stellar audience reactions, granted, from the audiences who would see a pseudo-documentary about the history of a Croatian city not far from the border of Slovenia and Italy that has a complex linguistic and history with the rise of fascism, etc., etc. This is a very, art house intellectual festival type film. I've heard nothing but great things, and this is an F tier.
That it is absolutely an F tier. It's not a contender, but it sounds really cool. It's not going to get the traction that it needs outside of A, its country, and B, the group of people that would track down a film like this.
Another kind of mixed media documentary, this time about a photographer, is I'm Not Everything I Want to Be. And this to me is another F tier.
I disagree. I think this is a D tier. This being a documentary examining the life and work of a photographer who captured LGBTQ life in the Czech Republic before the decriminalization. I feel like there is a political angle here. It has been getting some very good audience reviews. This could be a big surprise shortlist contender. It would kind of blow my mind, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility. I would put this at the bottom of the D tier.
I just think that the fact that this has been getting zero traction in the documentary category right now is already a red flag. Let's do bottom of the D tier, above China. Speaking of documentary, let's talk about Denmark's submission, Mr. Nobody Against Putin. Premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, won a prize. It is one of the two most relevant documentaries of the year about the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, this time about education and propaganda in the Russian school systems. This seems like a very baity film for the documentary branch, maybe a bit less so in the international branch, but what do you think, Matt?
Well, that's bingo right there. I do not think the international voters will give a shit about this one. I would put this in the D tier.
Oh, wow.
I think that even if this gets a nomination in the documentary category, I do not see this getting on the short list for international feature.
Okay, I'm going to put it between Belen and Young Mothers.
We can do that.
Speaking of documentaries, this is the Dominican Republic submission with Pepe. This is, again, a mixed media kind of experimental film about Pablo Escobar's legendary hippo Pepe that was imported from Africa to Latin America and then eventually was freed into nature and run rampant throughout the wilderness. But this is a very experimental documentary. This isn't traditional film at all. So despite it winning the Best Director prize at the Berlin Film Festival last year, this is an F tier.
This is the biggest F tier imaginable. This is such a big F tier. It's insane. It is just so experimental. It's so weird. It's the type of movie that someone would watch and go, see, this is why I hate art movies.
Next up, we have maybe our biggest contender yet with France's shocking submission of It Was Just an Accident. This is, of course, the Palme d'Or winner. This is the new film by Jafar Panahi. He has done the rounds. People love him. People are ready to embrace him the way they weren't ready to embrace Mohamed Rasulov last year. But where do we put it? Is this one that only stays in the international category, or does this go beyond to a Best Picture, Best Screenplay, Best Director nomination?
Look, so far this movie has defied all of our expectations. I said firmly France would not select this one to be its submission. Also, what has really influenced me and changed my mind is Neon's release strategy has been so interesting. Being here in New York City, they know exactly who to target this to. They are exclusively putting It Was Just an Accident in the biggest art house theaters. So you're only seeing this movie if you really want to see this movie. And it feels like they are following the exact path that Janus Films did with Drive My Car. I think that this is an S tier. Best Picture is on the table for this one, as is Best Director, and I would say that an original screenplay nomination is all but guaranteed for it.
We're discussing the international film category here, but if we go a little bit beyond, I have trouble not putting it in screenplay. You know, like given the slate of films for original screenplay, it's hard not to put it in. So even if it's not a strong S tier, I think it still has to be an S tier.
Absolutely.
A bottom of the S tier, maybe. So next up, we have Germany's Sound of Falling. This was the jury prize winner at the Cannes Film Festival and has been one of the buzziest titles on the festival circuit this year. Mubi also bought this one out of Cannes. This is their biggest title that they have for this category, which is definitely a plus, given that they managed to get The Girl with the Needle in last year. That being said, it is a very inaccessible and difficult to parse film. But it's a film that is easy to appreciate if only on, you know, the filmmaking or the technical level. And for that, I think I have to put it, even if it's towards the bottom, I have to put it in the B tier.
I would also put it in the B tier. I don't know if I would put it towards the bottom of the B tier, though. I think that it would be a little higher up in there. I'd say around A Poet. Yes, this is a difficult, challenging film, but I think that there is still a very big audience for it. You know, I had a few friends watch it with me, and they were both floored by it. Anecdotally, people really love this movie from what I've encountered.
This film has not been particularly well received by the French press at Cannes, but you're right that there is a very keen, specific art house audience that is going to take to it. But I still stand pretty firmly that I would be shocked to see this nominated.
I kind of agree with you. I would be really surprised to see this nominated, but I do expect the shortlist.
Likewise. Next up, we have Haiti with Kidnapping Inc. And if you thought, wait a second, didn't they already submit this last year? Well, last year they were disqualified for not having the film released in time in their home country to qualify. So now they are officially submitting it this year. That being said, this is nothing. This is a D or an F tier.
Yeah, D or an F tier. It sounds really fun. I don't see this as a contender. I don't think I would go F, though. I'd say bottom of D. If we also have China and bottom of D, I'd say this is bottom of D too.
It's not particularly well received. It's like this kind of action. There's nothing about it that screams contender in any way. Whereas I can make the journalistic argument for dead
You know
to
what?
rights.
Let's put it in F. Let's put it in top of F.
Okay.
I
let's
feel like
do
we
that.
need to thicken out that category a little bit.
Let's go to Hungary with Orphan. This premiered at the Venice Film Festival. This is the new film by Laszlo Nemes, who directed the Oscar-winning Son of Saul, which is still a very memorable film up to this day. This film was not nearly as well received, despite the pedigree leads me to want to put it towards the top of D tier. But what do you think?
I'd say bottom of C tier. I think that because this is so gorgeously crafted and it does have the pedigree behind it, I think that it will get more eyes on it than many of the D tier films will. And I think that's the big difference between a D and a C, in my opinion, is the amount of eyes on it. I would say that its angle for a shortlist is The Painted Bird, but it's not happening.
Next up, we have Iceland's submission with Hilnir Palmason's new film, The Love That Remains. He's the filmmaker you might know for Godland, which was shortlisted 2 years ago, of course, acquired by Janus Films. And here, this one is also acquired by Janus Films. But this one's a bit different. It's not a period piece. It's not this kind of religious epic, even though it is just as beautiful, just as photographic. But I just think that the profile of this film being about, a family rupture and not having this very clear, A to Z storytelling structure. There's a bunch of little chapters here and there, this feels more inaccessible, despite his good track record up until now. I don't think this will be shortlisted given the competition, and I would put this into C tier.
I completely disagree with you. I think that this has reviews that are equal to or stronger than what he got with Godland and A White Day. To me, this has more traction behind it. It's been playing at all of the festivals that it needs to. I think that this is very much a likely shortlist. If we do put it in the C tier, it would be top of the top of the top of the C tier for me. Also, I don't really see what you're seeing in terms of it being inaccessible. I think that it's much more accessible than I actually expected it to be. Godland is this sort of very slow, Bellatar-esque exploration of faith. Meanwhile, The Love That Remains is like a surrealist Buñuel-style comedy about a divorce. I don't know. I would be very surprised to see it miss the shortlist, actually.
I'll put it at the bottom of B tier, but we might have to reshuffle things a little bit if there are too many in the B tier.
We can do that.
Next up, we have India's submission with Homebound. Holy shit, Matt. India didn't fuck up this year. That's insane. It's a miracle.
It's a Christmas motherfucking miracle, man. I don't know how they did it.
When you did your video a while back about early, international contenders, I think you said, they should go with Homebound, but, let's expect a fuck up. Well, they actually went with Homebound this time. Here, they've selected a film that premiered in Un Certain Regard at Cannes. Didn't win anything there, but what it is the type of film to do is to win an audience prize at TIFF. It got the second runner-up International Audience Award. Now, is this because all the Indian audiences of Toronto went to see it? Probably that's a factor. But we cannot deny that that is pretty important. You see the reactions right now on Letterboxd, and they are stellar. And this is the kind of sweeping, epic film that you would expect to be shortlisted or even maybe a nomination. I've compared it to Hoop Dreams in the way that you follow these two men who are about to start their lives, who have dreams of being police officers, and the unpredictability of life just puts them into wildly different directions, ups and downs. This to me is, I would say, prime, maybe even top of B tier.
I wouldn't put it top of B tier. I would put it solidly mid B tier. I think you're going to disagree with me on this.
This is just above Un Poeta.
I would put it below Sound of Falling.
You haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know just how hard this goes for audiences. But I do think that the pedigree is a little bit less than what the other two films have.
I'm just going to have to tell you, trust me, bro. Like,
okay, I'll trust
this
you.
is above Un Poeta.
I'll trust
this
you.
Is I don't love the film, but like given the traction that it's had, given the film that it is, I see it. I see how some Academy members are going to dig it a lot. Next up, we have Iraq's submission with The President's Cake. This was the winner of the Audience Award at the Cannes Directors Fortnight Sidebar. This is a first film that was incredibly well reviewed, and Sony Pictures Classics immediately bought this after it won the award, which shows, I think, a lot of enthusiasm. It shows a lot of confidence. Now, we do have a very competitive slate of films here, but the fact that this has remained in the conversation, the fact that this has remained highly rated from festival audiences, and the fact that Sony Pictures Classics is behind this campaign, I think this is an A tier.
I don't see any way that you can put this above The Secret Agent right now. I love this film. I want the best for this film, but to me, this is going to be the little film that could the entire season. I don't, at this point, believe that it will make it into that final 5. So personally, I would put it in the B tier directly below The Secret Agent.
I disagree. What we've realized is that as it's gone through the festival rounds, it's maintained its 3.8 on Letterboxd. And I realize that The Secret Agent has a high pedigree, but we see films with a high pedigree not make it into nominations at the end of the day, a la A Hero, a la Decision to Leave. The Secret Agent feels much more like that kind of film, whereas The President's Cake fits the bill as like this audience-friendly, Academy Awards-friendly, lower-profile contender that is snatched up by a major distributor, and it consistently just makes it in.
I guess for me, this feels like the type of movie that typically gets like a Golden Globes nomination, a Critics' Choice nomination, and then just ends up not making it at the Oscars at the end of the day. Fallen Leaves is another example of that sort of Globe contender that just doesn't make it at the end of the day. If this were to be a nominee, it would be a nominee that kind of comes out of left field. The Secret Agent has excitement behind it, it has critical praise, and it is contending in multiple other categories. While The President's Cake would be really lucky to get the nomination, although I think it's guaranteed for the shortlist. Let's reshuffle at the end when we've got everything laid out. We'll see.
All right.
I don't know if I could be as bold as to say it is a likely nomination.
I'll put it below The Secret Agent at your request, but let it be known that I think this is a near guaranteed 4th slot at the Oscars.
That's crazy.
Next up is Japan's submission with Kokuho. This is a 3-hour epic that spans from 1964 to 2014 about the rise of a kabuki theater actor as you see, regime changes, political changes, the ups and downs of life, and the evolution of kabuki as an art. Kokuho, I think, means something along the lines of great Japanese artist. Worth pointing out, not only just distributed by G-Kids, which is a prominent distributor and known for getting Oscar nominations, albeit more in the animation category, but also a major financial hit in Japan. Mm-hmm. It's already made the equivalent of more than $100 million only in that market. This is a film that's held on well. This is almost like, I want to say, the equivalent of The Count of Monte Cristo last year, where it's like this big regional hit that's held on incredibly well from week to week in its native market. And it is accessible and interesting enough for a public beyond its regional public. And I think given that this is a film about an artist and the evolution of an artist, that it will find some love within the Academy. Not enough for a nomination, but certainly for a shortlist.
Yeah, personally, I feel like this can get the shortlist. I don't know if I would go so far to say certainly. I found it a little bit difficult to find some attachment to. I do think it does a very good job of introducing people to the art form. I just don't know if it's going to find the enthusiasm or passion. That said, I would put it likely at the top of the C tier. I think that this is, so to me,
this is a B
bottom
tier.
B.
I'm sorry, this is a B tier.
Let's go, we can go bottom B.
I'm putting it above the love that the love that remains.
All right, we'll see about that. We'll see about that.
I would even put it higher, honestly. But next up is Jordan's submission, All That's Left of You. This is one of the 3 films about Palestine that have been submitted this year, even if this one is not from Palestine.
This is a film that spans about 70 years. A Palestinian boy is killed by Israeli police officers, and it's about his family as they deal with the decision to donate his organs. It premiered at Sundance Film Festival.
It got a lot of good hype from there. This is something we have to take into account when it comes to films about current regional conflicts, is that naturally, because, we want to be on the right side of history and because we support these causes in real life, the scores for some of these films tend to get inflated a little bit. Do you think this film truly is great and possible for a shortlist, or given the competition we have, even within just films about Palestine this year, that this one might fall to the wayside?
I feel like this one absolutely can get onto the shortlist, but it's not something that I would predict or would expect. This one, I don't think is a very great film. Yes, the subject matter is important, but I think that it also puts a lot of self-importance on itself. It's pointless in how long it spans. It's a little bit too saccharine for me. Too manipulative in how it goes for your emotions.
That sounds like a top of the C tier to me.
It is a top of the C tier. Absolutely.
Next up, Latvia's submission, Dog of God. It's the second year in a row that Latvia has submitted an animated film after their wild success with Flow last year.
It's an adult animated film. It premiered in the Tribeca, I think, Midnights category. It sounds fucking awesome, but it's an F tier. It is DOA.
Where do I put it in the F tier?
I'm gonna say you can put it above Pepe.
Oh wow, okay, this is a prime F tier.
I think it's a prime F tier because it is so anti-Oscars in every way, but it's so cool that they submitted it.
Next up, let's go to Lebanon with A Sad and Beautiful World. This was the top prize winner at the Giornate degli Autori. This is the Venice side section equivalent to Cannes Directors Fortnight. This was a very well-received, well-reviewed film. It's also a film that, on paper, it's a very baity film about this kind of tumultuous relationship that spans many years, from tragedy to, the surrounding politics and whatnot. It also stars notable people that have worked in the US before. I'm thinking especially of the lead actress. But despite that, I don't think this will get enough eyes on it. So I kind of have to put it somewhere in the D tier.
Yeah, I would put it close to the top of the D tier. The prime difference between a C and a D tier for me is eyes, and I don't see this having the eyes.
Speaking of having eyes on it, Morocco's submission is the new film from Mariam Touzani. It's called Calle Malaga, or Malaga Road. It is it is intimate, but as we know, a small and intimate Mariam Touzani film can get onto the shortlist, like we saw with The Blue Kaftan. That being said, this film doesn't have quite the same profile. This is a film that premiered in the Spotlight section of Venice, which is this new kind of out of competition section. Kind of strange that it went there. Sure, it made the rounds at festivals. It went on to go to TIFF. It went on to go to London. But I just don't think that this is strong enough to get her on the shortlist again. So I have to put this into the C tier.
Yeah, I agree. This is a C tier film for me. It just does not have the reviews or the awards that The Blue Kaftan had. So
just because she was shortlisted before, don't expect her to be shortlisted again.
Absolutely.
Next up, North Macedonia is back with the director of Honeyland's new film called The Tale of Silyan. If you remember, Honeyland was this 2019 fantastic documentary that restarted a trend of having documentaries being nominated outside of Best Documentary. In that film's case, it was also nominated in the International Film category, and it was, I believe, North Macedonia's very first nomination. This film is distributed by National Geographic, which is a great indicator for the documentary category. Where should we rank this, Matt? Because like on paper, this has everything it's going for. It has great reviews. It has great reactions. National Geographic is going to step up its campaign very soon. What do you think?
I would put this very high in the C tier. Honeyland was kind of a small miracle that it got the nomination that it did. And the trend of documentaries being nominated in both doc and international, it kind of happened for like 3 or 4 years. It was the cool thing to do, and then it's kind of died out a little bit.
It happened kind of miraculously in 2019, and then it happened in 2020 and 2021 because we had strong contenders, sure, but also because it was a weaker field with COVID. And I think it stopped there. But I agree with you. This is a top of the C tier. It might fall just short, given we have a strong field this year. Next up, our next F tier is Norway's submission, Sentimental Value.
Yeah, it's going nowhere.
This might be, maybe below Pepe, and comes all right back around to the top of S tier. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's so far down that it loops back to the top.
Exactly.
Like Gandhi in Civilization.
I think we both agree on this. It's the biggest contender, probably, of everything we have. It has the biggest chances of being nominated in the most other categories. It's probably maybe still in the top 5 for Best Picture, although it's slipping maybe a little bit.
Sentimental Value is coming for tons of nominations, possibly some acting wins, possibly a screenplay win. It is undeniably top of the S tier. Even if down the road something overthrows it and wins international feature, this is going to have the widest appeal. Like, I would stand by, even though Emilia Perez lost to I'm Still Here at the End of the Day, I would still have Emilia Perez higher on this tier list than I'm Still Here because it got those 13 nominations.
I don't see any scenario where Sentimental Value is not the nomination leader within this field.
Yes, absolutely. 100% undeniably, yes.
Let's talk about Palestine's submission with the aptly titled Palestine 36. And this, to me, is a film that caters more to the Academy about Palestinian history. It feels more like the cooler younger brother to All That's Left of You, which is why I'm leaning towards like maybe the bottom of B tier.
Yeah, I think that's either top of C tier or bottom of B tier. This is hitting with audiences in a really, really good way. Watermelon Pictures got this one. They also have All That's Left of You. And to be honest, it seems like they are leaning more in this direction in terms of a film to push hard. So yeah, I think B tier is very fair for it.
Okay, next up we have the Philippines selection with Magellan. This is the new film by Lav Diaz and stars Gael Garcia Bernal as Magellan, the Portuguese conqueror and explorer. This is in the same vein as submissions like Do Not Expect Much from the End of the World, Grand Tour, although it is a little bit more accessible than those two, in parts because it has a major star at the center of it and follows a story from A to Z all the way to Magellan's death. If it wasn't for Gael Garcia Bernal, this would be like maybe somewhere in the D tier, but right now I'm leaning bottom of the C tier.
Yeah, I could go either way. Bottom of the C tier, top of the D tier.
It's also got a lot of love from specific art house crowds.
It does, and it has a distributor like Janus behind it. And even if it is inaccessible and difficult and challenging, it's still really freaking pretty.
Next up, we have Poland's submission, Friends. This is the new film by Agnieszka Holland, who, we know as a bit of an Academy darling here and there. She was not submitted 2 years ago with Green Border. I think her previous film, was it Charlatan? That one was shortlisted, kind of surprisingly, because it wasn't all that well received. And Friends is kind of the same thing. It is a biopic of Franz Kafka. Was not particularly well received, but it's a biopic of Franz Kafka, directed by Agnieszka Holland. So where do we put this? Do we think this is one of those kind of weird shortlist mentions that doesn't really end up going anywhere beyond that? Or was Charlatan kind of a fluke? I would say because the field is so strong this year, I want to put this in the C tier, probably towards the top of the C tier.
I would actually put this in the D tier personally.
Oh, wow.
I just don't see anyone giving a shit about this movie. I mean, Agnieszka Holland.
But eyes will be on it.
But will they? Because who's distributing this movie? When is it coming out? Who is seeing it?
And Charlatan wasn't distributed.
I don't know. I just feel like the signs have been there since, like, Agnieszka Holland is a Venice darling. All of her films go to Venice. Where did this premiere? TIFF.
TIFF, yeah. to pretty poor reception.
reviews.
All right, fair enough. How about bottom of the C tier, just below Matt?
Sure. Just based on the name of the director, we can do that.
Romania's submission this year is a film called Traffic, starring French-Romanian actress Ana Maria Vartolomei, which you might know from The Count of Monte Cristo and the Golden Lion winner Happening. This is a film that, despite her presence, has gotten pretty little attention and traction, which is why I'm leaning the D tier.
I would go D tier too. I mean, the most relevant thing about this is that Christian Mungiu is the screenwriter behind it, being the writer-director of 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, and next year's neon contender, Fjord. Regardless, Christian Mungiu will have to wait at least 1 more year for any Academy recognition. This is going nowhere. It is a D tier.
Singapore's submission is the Venice competition film from last year, Stranger Eyes. Again, this film has not gotten all that much traction, not that many eyes on it. The reactions aren't exceedingly positive. So to me, this is a bottom of the D tier.
Yeah, I would go the same. This is a D tier for me. I see no enthusiasm for this one.
Next up, we have Slovenia's film, Little Trouble Girls. This is a coming-of-age film about a girl who goes to this choir kind of summer camp and kind of starts to learn about herself, make friends. She's a bit shy. She's kind of learning about what she's kind of sexually attracted to. Spoiler alert, the twist is that she isn't a lesbian. She's actually straight, which is a bit of a twist on the formula. This is distributed also by Kino Lorber and got really great reactions out of the perspective section of Berlin this year, which is why I'm feeling like this is kind of this year's Jolie Keeps Quiet. And I'm feeling somewhere in the C tier, probably more towards the bottom.
I agree with you. C tier is a very strong place for this. It just hasn't been playing at too many relevant places.
Next up, we have probably our last S tier contender, which is South Korea's No Other Choice, directed by Park Chan-wook. This is an across-the-board, above-the-line contender outside of this category. So this is inevitably an S tier, but do we put it above or below? It was just an accident. Well, let's put it above.
I would put it above. Yeah, we're putting it above. I think it has a broader audience. It won that TIFF International People's Choice Award. Everywhere that it goes, it is one of the most anticipated and high-selling films. And yeah, I mean, we've got these 3 neon contenders. Can all 3 of them get other above-the-line nominations? Yes, they can. Yes, all of them can. They all target different audiences in different ways. This is the crowd pleaser of the 3 Neon movies, and I think that Neon can lean into that.
We are recording this at the end of October right now. It was just an accident, just came out. Sentimental Value is about to come out. No Other Choice is coming out on Christmas with a January expansion. So if you're panicking, thinking, why am I not hearing more about this? That's because it's doing the rounds of the festivals, and Neon is focusing on the releases they have at the moment. But mark my word, in a month or 2, we're going to be hearing nothing but No Other Choice raves. Next up, another Neon contender. This is Spain's submission with Serrat. This is a film I fell in love with, but this is a film that, as expected, is divisive. This is not an easy film to watch. This is a bleak film, but I think even if it's not an overwhelming majority, the majority of people who watch this film are very impressed. I just don't think that this is strong enough for a nomination.
Yeah, it's not that it's not strong enough. This is the 5th in line from the same distribution company. Is this going to have more of a push behind it than the 4 films above it? Absolutely not. And does this hit the same audience that some of the other ones do? Like, I would say that Serrat very much is going to be aiming for the same voters that would go for It Was Just an Accident or The Secret Agent. This has to be a B tier for me because I would be shocked to see it left out of the shortlist.
I agree.
But I would be equally shocked to see it nominated.
Next up, we have Sweden's film Eagles of the Republic.
D-tier.
This is the new film by Tariq Saleh, who has directed Boy from Heaven or Cairo Conspiracy, which was shortlisted 3 years ago. That being said, I don't have that much faith into this film. I didn't love this film, and I not seeing nearly as many eyes on it as Boy from Heaven.
This is a D tier. It is not getting the same eyes. It's not getting the same buzz. It did not win an award at Cannes, and it has kind of been a film that no one really has cared about since Cannes.
Next up, we have Switzerland's submission, Late Shift. This is a new film starring Léonie Benesch, which the Academy at this point is probably familiar with, given that she had a key role in September 5, nominated for original screenplay, and the leading role in The Teacher's Lounge, which was Germany's submission and eventual Oscar nomination. You have pretty positive reactions out of this. It also takes kind of like the boiling point formula of, let's see all the intense, crazy shit that can happen within this professional environment. So this is something that people are familiar with and are kind of consistently impressed with, whether it's the kitchen or, in this case, I think it's the ER. I don't think that this will ultimately get a nomination, but I think this is prime B tier.
Yes. I don't know if I'd say B tier. Before I watched it, I had it in for a nomination. After I watched it, I felt uncertain of whether this would even get a short list. So I would put this in this very close to the top of the C tier. It's not as accessible or as entertaining or as riveting as you might think it is from the description of it, where The Pit just came and won and swept the Emmys as another exactly what Late Shift is, real-time view of a shift in an emergency room.
But don't you think the European voters or the international voters who don't know anything about The Pit, like myself, might still be impressed by this?
It's possible, but the thing about Late Shift is it straddles a weird line between being too commercial to appeal to those audiences and not commercial enough to appeal to the commercial audiences.
Given that you've seen this film and that I haven't yet, I will trust you on this one.
I would say it deserves to be right around, those top 3 in C tier are really strong. All of them could absolutely end up in the short list.
Next up, we have Taiwan's submission, which is the new film by Shi Ching-soo, who co-directed Takeout back in 2004 with Sean Baker. This is her first film set in Taiwan. It is entirely filmed with iPhones. It is most notably edited and co-written with Sean Baker, so definitely similar vibes, notably like the Florida Project. The reception for this film has been pretty incredible, enough for Netflix to buy it. This is Netflix's #1 contender in this category. It has the profile and the pedigree of Shi Ching-soo and Sean Baker, and nothing about it feels inaccessible. It is a very breezy, fun, but emotional film for that reason alone. And looking at Netflix's track record, despite this being not as strong of a year for them in this category and them missing out on Nouvelle Vague, this to me is an A tier.
This is an A tier. Absolutely, this is an A tier. I actually think I see this the way that you're seeing The President's Cake, in that it is a movie that appeals to audiences, has that sort of broad appeal, but I think that Netflix is much stronger than SPC. Imagine having voters watch this, not knowing that the guy that they just awarded 5 Oscars to last year was the guy behind it. That could be a fun surprise.
But it's not the guy behind it, right?
No.
It is a Shi Ching-soo film. They're not repeating the motions. They won't have the feeling of oh, why would I reward him again,
Exactly. I really see this getting a nomination. A is perfect for that for me.
Thailand's submission is A Useful Ghost. A Useful Ghost, before I had seen it, was prime C tier. This is the film that won the top prize at the Cannes Critics Week. It is a Thai film, so naturally it's probably a little bit too long for what it should be. It stars a lot of big Thai actors that we know nothing about. But now that I've seen this film, and maybe this is my own bias, this is a B tier.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It mixes so many genres. It goes by at a pretty good pace. It is funny, it is clever, and it's ultimately important. This turns out to be an Eat the Rich film. I don't know if you knew this.
I didn't know that.
The ending of the film is incredibly cathartic, the way that, something like The Menu might be cathartic.
The concept alone says to me that this can get a short list. It's just so wild to be we're going to do a movie about a haunting, but it's about a guy in a vacuum cleaner trying to prove that he's one of the good ghosts.
It's a she.
Oh, I thought it was the guy that died and he was trying to prove to his wife's family. Okay, opposite of what I thought. Still, hilarious. This movie sounds amazing, and it absolutely seems like prime shortlist material.
Tunisia's submission is The Voice of Hind Rajab. This is the Grand Jury Prize winner at the Venice Film Festival. It is the new film by Kauter Benhania, who was previously nominated for her last two films, The Man Who Sold His Skin in the International Film category and Four Daughters in the documentary film category. Here she comes back with a narrative recreation of everything that happens in the emergency Red Crescent call center at the moment that they receive a call from a 6-year-old Palestinian girl stuck in a car surrounded by the cadavers of her dead relatives after being shot at, asking for a rescue. Notably, this film uses the real voice recording of this 6-year-old girl before she was shot and killed. And therefore, this is a film that has riled up a lot of people. This is a film that, as executive producers, you have people like Alfonso Cuarón, Rooney Mara, Joaquin Phoenix, and Jonathan Glazer, who won the Oscar for The Zone of Interest 2 years ago. The profile of this film is pretty big, and this is probably the prime, most important film about the Palestinian conflict. That being said, are people really going to want to vote for this film en masse in this category? I kind of want to put this at the top of B tier.
I think you're underselling it, not just the pedigree that it has. This is so visible. It doesn't even have a distributor yet, and yet it's a movie that I feel like you could talk to any cinephile and mention it, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's the one that was at Venice. Every single regional festival that this is played at, it has had outrageously huge response. It's been winning People's Choice Awards. Being an important film about an important subject matter with so much strong backing behind it, I just can't justify putting it below the A tier.
I'm leaning top of B tier. I've had this just below a nomination before I've seen it. But you're right, it's been going through regional film festivals, doing very good. It didn't place at TIFF, but that's okay. I do think that the score is inflated because of the subject matter, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say, you know what? Maybe Kauter Benhania has a charm with her, and she just somehow manages to sneak in there. I don't think it's a guarantee, though. I'll put it at the bottom of the tier.
I don't think it's a guarantee. That fifth spot is between the four films that we have here. Left-Handed Girl, Voice of Hind Rajab, Secret Agent, President's Cake. I think you can pick two out of those four.
Maybe there's a really small chance for Homebound, but I wouldn't. But yeah. Next up, we have a UK submission, which so far has not been disqualified, and that is My Father's Shadow. The reason I'm saying this is because this is a Nigerian film that is predominantly in English, although it is, of course, pigged in English. So this is a Nigerian-specific dialect. Nigerian films have had trouble being submitted because the Academy considers them to be English language films. English language films aren't allowed to be submitted. I would hope that the Academy understands the context that this is just what people speak in Nigeria, and it would be unfair to discredit the way they speak. This is a film that has been doing very well on the festival circuit. This is a film that was acquired by Mubi, and while it might be their second priority behind Sound of Falling, this could be a bit of a surprise and be the more kind of emotional father-son film. If this isn't disqualified, this is prime shortlist material.
Yeah. I don't see a world where this isn't disqualified. We've had films disqualified for much, much less. I want to say it's like 75% in English. I can't say that I think it's a likely shortlist because I think it's a likely disqualification. So I would put it in the C tier.
How about this? Let's put it at bottom of B tier.
We can do that.
As like this kind of like X factor of, if it does qualify, I would put it just under Kokuho. Personally. Lastly, let's talk about Ukraine's submission, 2,000 Meters to Andrivka. This is the new documentary from the filmmaker of 20 Days in Mariupol, who of course won the Academy Award for Best Documentary and was shortlisted for the International Film Prize, but was not nominated for that film. Even if you win the documentary category and that you have, you're submitted by your country, you're not guaranteed a slot here. In many ways, this film is about equivalently received to 20 Days in Mariupol. It even won, I believe, the directing prize in the Sundance World Documentary Competition. But we haven't heard as many people talk about this film. The buzz is just not there as much, which is why I'm kind of leaning somewhere in the C tier.
I would also go C tier. It doesn't feel as spoken about, as relevant. It's still going to be in the documentary contention, even if it's not in the shortlist for Best International Feature.
So this is our international submissions tier list. Of note, obviously, just because you're further down on the tier list doesn't mean you're not worth watching. Like I mentioned, Fiume or Morte sounds incredible, and that's an F tier here, so it's really purely about the odds of you getting a nomination or not. As you can see from our tier list right now, our nominated films that we have devised are Sentimental Value, No Other Choice, It Was Just an Accident, Left-Handed Girl, and The Voice of Hind Rajab. Would you agree with that, Matt?
See, that is my top 5, but I know it's not quite yours.
No.
I actually feel like, to be more representative, and because we both feel like that 4 between A and the top 2 of B, I actually think we should move Secret Agent and President's Cake into A tier because those movies are fighting for nominations.
You really think so? Like 4 films in the A tier?
I don't know. I'm torn between this, but it just feels wrong to have those.
I see.
Below.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, all right, fair enough. Let's say that because Secret Agent and President's Cake has a fighting chance at a nomination, let's put them in the A tier as well. Right now, our top 5 is still The Voice of Hind Rajab in that last spot. I would put The President's Cake in that last spot.
And see, that's where we differ. And I think that's why it's worth having both of them, because you would put President's Cake as number 5. And to be honest, the Brazilians will kill us if we have The Secret Agent that low.
Well, let them come in. We're here to speak the truth. We're here to speak the facts. And the fact is that The Secret Agent, it's not I'm Still Here.
Yeah, it's not I'm Still Here.
And either way, The Secret Agent, it's been getting a lot of buzz. The Oscars are not everything. What it's going to do, both financially and also like in the culture, is already significant enough. Good tier list, Matt. I think we did a pretty good job evaluating these films. When is the shortlist?
Shortlist is
a month and a half.
A month and a half, like early December.
Okay. Hopefully this will keep up.
Hopefully. But anyways, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We hope that you have learned something about this year's international film category, or maybe that you're excited to check out one of these films that you had not heard of before. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Matt. That has been Arnaud, our international film expert, and this has been Fantasy Filmball.